Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Church of Christ Congregational, Newington. I'm Peter Needman, the organist and music director here, and we welcome you to the latest in our concert series, Simple Gifts, World Music from Linda Littleton and Karen Hirschon. Just a couple quick announcements before the concert starts. If you'd like to receive emails about upcoming concerts, you could just email the church and give them the information that you'd like to be on the list. We're also on Facebook and, just typical public relations. But if you want to get actual emails saying, here's the next concert, we'd be happy to add you to that list. All our concerts are free admission, so that's great. We don't want anybody to be unable to attend, but we do rely on the support of your donations. So we'd accept anything on the way out, generous donations to keep our series going. You can even go a step further than that if you'd like. In the program, there is a donor form. If you'd like to actually be a supporting donor of the whole series and give a more substantial gift, you could do that as well. You could do that electronically on the church website too. So anyway, we're glad you're here. If you have a cell phone or anything that makes noise, now would be a good time to quiet that so it doesn't disrupt the music. I would tell you that our next concert is March 8th, which is just about a month away. Organ recital by myself. Lots of great, exciting organ music. And this is a fabulous instrument if you've never heard it. These are real working pipes. There aren't that many pipe organs in this immediate area, so I'll be showing that off on March 8th. And then our choirs have a Pops concert on the end of May 31st, which is a Sunday. All kinds of Broadway music and patriotic songs, and we have a band and a lot of soloists, handbell choir, and that's a lot of fun. Spring Pops on May 31st. Then we have a Carillon concert, which is the bells that you hear in the tower. That's on July 5th, and that is outside, so you actually come with a lawn chair and any food and drink you want to have, and sit out on the lawn and hear the Carillon play music for about an hour on a Sunday evening. So that's a lot of fun. After the concert, Linda and Karen will be in the narthex/lobby. They have CDs for sale if you'd like to buy one of them. And if you do buy one, they'd be happy to sign it for you and just say hi. So anyway, we're so glad that Linda and Karen made the trip up from Pennsylvania, and I hope you'll help me now in welcoming Linda Littleton, Karen Hirschon, Simple Gifts.
Well, good evening, or good afternoon. My name is Karen, and this is Linda, and our name is Simple Gifts, and we play, as you can see, a variety of instruments. I'd better get mine.
It's so nice to be here and see all of you out there. It's a beautiful church, and we're looking forward to playing about an hour's worth of music for you. We're going to start out with a piece from Bulgaria. It's called Nenka, and what's really different about it is that it's in 7/8 rhythm. So if you're going to count along with it, it goes about 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2. That's up to 7. It's the hymn from which we take our name.
From which?
I was almost going to end with a preposition, but this is New England. We shouldn't do that. Okay, Simple Gifts.
We are going to play one that we wrote. We had a lot of fun with this piece. We wanted to make it exotic. The thing that we have the most fun with our music is really the arranging. Yes, I think I've got one. Oh, I always have one in my pocket. Now I have two.
What are you going to do with 2 picks?
Well, I have about 6 in my wallet in my back pocket. Anyway, we do have a lot of fun arranging the music, but we also have a lot of fun writing it. So we decided to make this one exotic. So we used that 7/8 rhythm, like in the first piece, where a little tricky to tap your foot to. And we added kind of an exotic sounding scale.
So exotic scale,
Yes.
Exotic meter, it's got to sound exotic. Here's the scale.
It's kind of like snake charmer music.
Yeah.
We call it Midnight Caravans, and we just had a good time with it. And of course, most of you know this is a mandolin. Probably most of you know. This is an American style. It has the flat back, not the great big, looks like the dipper style, or we always call them potato bug mandolins. They're a lot of fun to play. A lot of people are playing them now. You'd see them in Irish or maybe bluegrass music, but more people are starting to play them. Tuned like a violin, so this hand does what I do on my violin. This is a pick, so I do this. This is my guitar side. So right down the middle here, I have to be very careful that I don't cross over that border there. So Midnight Caravans. So Linda's going to get the largest instrument that we travel with. It's the hammer dulcimer, and I'm sure a lot of you folks have seen these. Dulcimers are fascinating. They're over 3,000 years old, this kind of a design where you hammer on strings. So it's actually a percussion instrument, but of course it has a lot of variety of things you can do with it. They think they originated in Persia, which is current day Iran. And you all set up over there? Oh yeah, this is a nice. You know, a lot of times when the acoustics are this good, and they're incredibly good up here. Like we're hearing pins drop up here all the time. You guys can't, but we are.
We're in the special sweet spot.
Yes. So we're going to play a tune.
I think I heard a pin drop out there.
Did you? Probably. But we're going to do a piece that we do kind of save for acoustically special rooms. And this is an Israeli piece called Milk and Honey, Land of Milk and Honey. Okay, we have a little bit of setup for this one.
tell you a little bit more about the hammer dulcimer. You might have been wondering about it. Here's what the front of it looks like. It's got 82 strings on it. All of them go all the way across, and they get raised up. Some get raised up at this bridge, and some get raised up at this bridge. So you get different places on here where you can play. I just take the hammer and, well, I hit multiple notes at a time from this angle, but I'm supposed to hit one at a time like that. It is related to the piano. If you think about a piano inside, just you only get 2 hammers with this, and you have to move them around to the different notes.
And you can pick all kinds of different types of hammers. And that can take a whole afternoon in a music shop.
Oh, it can take a lifetime. I'm working on it. Karen's getting herself set up, but she'll be singing a song that's very special to us. Karen wrote the melody of the song, but the lyrics were written by her great-great-grandmother, Belle Walker Cook, about her trip from Connecticut. We've never played this for a Connecticut audience. She started in Connecticut and went to Oregon in 1851.
Yes, she did. She was about 16 years old, and she left Connecticut, and they were headed out to Oregon. And of course, a 16-year-old would think it would be just a complete and total adventure at age 16. I'm sure many of the other people on the trip were quite frightened, but did it anyway. She ended up in Oregon, and she became the first clerk of the state of Oregon. And she also was the first woman to publish a book of poetry in Oregon. So she was also a raving suffragette, which somehow that does not surprise me in the least. So this is called Crossing the Plains. And before I sing it, I'll just mention a few things so that it'll help you understand the song a little bit better. They went out in a cart and 6, and that would have been 6 oxen. And she makes a reference right away to something called the hickory shirt, and that was like a work shirt. And I think, as close as I can guess, it was like Dickies overalls. You guys know what Dickies overalls are? Okay, the blue and white overalls that last longer than you can believe. They also had to be very careful of water, obviously, traveling out there. So she mentions that a lot. They did see, and I'm sure ate, buffalo. The other interesting thing they did was they did let their wagons down over these steep bluffs with ropes, and that would save an enormous amount of time on that trip west, and you had to be very careful of that. But I think one of the most interesting references she makes is to the phrase, she uses the phrase, to see the elephant, or see the noted elephant. And in that day and age, that was a reference that was used for, you had heard about something your whole life, and it was just hard to believe it existed. And then finally you would see the elephant, and it would be something just utterly amazing. And I think that's how she felt about the trip. And it's also a reference at the same time to a stone formation in the Cascade Range, Cascade Mountain Range. So we're going to head west with Belle Walker Cook, and you're all welcome on this journey. Did you ever cross the plains where they wear the hickory shirt, where the eyes get used to smoke and the face be grimed with dirt? Did you cross the muddy river, more noted than the Styx, and begin your journey westward, all in a cart and 6? Have you traveled through the sand, up the famous River Platte, where the bluffs are so romantic, but the water tastes so fine? Have you camped out in a hailstorm when the wind was blowing high, upsetting tents and wagons and making children cry?
up in the morning feeling somewhat water-soaked and find your cattle missing, did you ever get provoked? And while you hunted cattle, did that little muddy creek rise up a second deluge and keep you there a week? Did you travel long hot days and never see a spring, till just at night you came to one and fancied just the thing? Did you seize a cup in haste and think to drink it dry, but it was almost boiling hot or strong with alkali? Have you seen vast herds of bison rolling like the mighty Main? Or was it but a couple 5 miles across the plain? Did you tread on rattlesnakes and on fields of prickly pear, till you wished yourself back home again, any place but there? Did you see the glorious landscape spread out before your heart as you climbed the rocky ridges or stood on mountains high? Did your wagons tip up endwise as you rattled down the hill, or did you let them down on ropes in places steeper still? And lastly, though not least, did you cross the Cascade Range and see the noted elephant the world would think so strange? Did you slide down Laurel Hill when the rain was falling fast, and with one yoke of cows did you reach your goal at last? If you saw and did all this with 1,000 items more, I think it can't be doubted you are wiser than before. Though your home's a leaky cabin when the winter rain comes on, no wonder you are well content to live in Oregon. No wonder you are well content to live in Oregon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have to do a little bit more setup here.
I think I will stand with this. I will be playing what I'm holding in my hand here, which is an alto recorder. How many of you learned recorder in school? Nowadays, around 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, it's like all the kids are playing recorder. I learned in junior high, the kids learn a smaller one, the soprano. And I learned in school, never stopped playing. So I'll be playing this, but I'm going to first put it down and play something else.
And it puts me on the dulcimer. I can't play recorder. I smile too much. And every wind instrument I tried, I simply started laughing. So. Not that I don't like wind, I do, I love it.
But you like to smile even more. How's that? I'll be playing this one, and this is called a psaltery, Psaltery. A psaltery is usually plucked. In the Renaissance, they added a bow to the psaltery. So the full name of this is bowed psaltery. And it's got about 30 strings on it. All of them go the length of the instrument, ending somewhere along the edge of the triangle. Look over here how you have 3 together, and 2, and 3, and 2, just like the black notes on a piano. Remember? 3, 1, 2. So this is like the black notes of the piano. All your sharps and flats are here. But here they're evenly spaced like the white notes on the piano. And I'm not stupid. We do our own arrangements. C major, A minor, you get to stay on the easy side. So I'm just going to play on the easy side of this. But you play it by moving the bow to the string that you want. The most common question I get about this is, how do you play the strings in the middle? Can you guys even see this? All right, I'm coming out. I'll show it to you.
They really are fascinating instruments.
So you saw the strings going the length of it. People are always saying, how do you play the ones in the middle? So I'm going to answer that. I have my finger on a string. I'm going to show you how you play that string. You follow it to where it ends. It ends right here. That's where you play that string. Make sense now? Okay. Anyhow, that was a long story. I'll try and tell the next part shorter. I'm also going to do a song from my heritage. I am 100% Eastern European Jewish. My grandparents were born, and they called it Russia, even though it wasn't. They said they were from Russia. It was Soviet Union. And the language they spoke was Yiddish. It's a different Jewish language than Hebrew. Though it uses the same alphabet, it sounds a lot more like German. My parents, both of them, their first language was Yiddish. One grandmother didn't learn English, so I was sent to Yiddish school so I could speak to her. So I will be singing you a song in Yiddish, and it is about Mashiach. And Mashiach is the Messiah, and it's the Mashiach will be coming next year. There's a part for you in here, and it's when the words get easy, that's when you should sing.
You'll know it when it comes.
Karen sings too when the words are easy. All right. You think like this? Okay, Matt? Yeah. Okay. I think so. All right. Shnir ela per ela gilden afan, Mashiach ben David sitz oben an. Halt da Becher in der rechte Hand, macht da Brache auf den ganzen Land. Oi, Amen, Amen, das ist wahr. Mashiach wird kommen heim zu Jahr. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Schnere le pere le gilden afan, Mashiach ben David sitz oiben an, Hout a becher in de rechte hand, Macht a broche auf den ganzen Land. Oy, amen, amen, das ist wahr. Mashiach bekommen heintig Jahr. Yai, dai, 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 yai, dai, 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 dai. Oh, thank you for singing. It was nice. Thank you for singing. Do you want to know what you were saying? Yai dai dai. Do you have any ideas what yai dai dai might mean? What did it feel like you were singing? What? I didn't hear that. You were singing Tra-la-la with a little bit of oy vey mixed into it. And that's about what it was. It didn't mean anything.
You guys sounded great. That was nice. Very nice. Okay, so we have another odd instrument up here that I'm sure many of you are wondering what it is.
It's the same thing.
It is a larger version of the boat psaltery.
Just another one. And, you know, they don't make them this big. This is the second biggest one I've ever seen, and the biggest one being another one that I own. And other people, you know, you play it on your arm, but it's too big to play like that. It was given to me by the builder who thought it wasn't good enough to sell. He thought there was some, I haven't figured out what's wrong with it, but he said it wasn't good enough to sell. If I wanted it, I could pay him for shipping in a case, and he'd send it to me. And I said, that's a good deal. So I have this. I play it on my lap because it's easier to reach. The day it came, I was thinking about how Karen's been talking about the hymn, Be Thou My Vision, that she likes so much. And being Jewish, I don't know hymns so much, so I'm learning them because we play a lot of hymns. So I looked it up that day that the Psalter came, and I said, you know, it sounds like it'd be good for playing hymns. So I looked up Be Thou My Vision, and she came by my house that night, and we played it together, and it sounded real nice. And we decided to pair it with a 16th century Jewish tune. We don't know the name of it, but we learned it from a rabbi, so we call it the Rabbi's Tune.
Which has now become its name.
Yes.
Yeah, it was fun with both of these instruments. It was kind of an Appalachian sound that we were able to get with them, which is kind of cool. you very much. So, we're going to just lighten it up just a little bit and do 3 Irish tunes. And the first one we take it at kind of a slow pace for an Irish tune, but it normally would be played faster, but it was such a pretty melody. It was going by too fast. You kind of couldn't sink your teeth into it. So we decided, you know, I mean, at my age, I'm not going to let anybody tell me what I have to do. So we slowed it down.
You better believe it. I
Yes.
can never tell her what to do. She always gets her way. No, I'm kidding. She's a delight to work with. We've played together for almost 25 years now, so we're used to each other.
We have to sit next to each other in the car, too. Can we get a rack of some kind?
The good thing about it, though, is, well, it's not a good thing, but Karen does all the driving, whether it's my car or hers, because she gets car sick. That's not good that she gets car sick, but I kind of like that she does all the driving. I get to take naps and stuff.
Oh, when you fall asleep when I'm driving, I do too. You just don't know it.
Right.
I'm really good. So, we have an Irish sandwich. There's 2 American tunes on either end and an Irish tune in the middle. So, ready? This is a little odd. Yes, okay. very much. Thank you. Thanks. That woke up my guitar. So we were looking through your hymnal, and I didn't see one here listed, but we're going to play a tune called Holy Manna. That's the name of the tune. The hymn is, there's a number of different hymns to it, but it is from the shape note, or the Sacred Harp singing tradition. So it's a very American sounding, and the melody is just, it's just one of those beautiful, simple melodies. So, are you ready? Holy Manna. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we're going to get out the 5-string banjo. And,
So you're not going to do Green Blade.
right, no. So we're going to do a piece here with the 5-string banjo. Now, most people probably think of the 5-string banjo as something you'd hear in bluegrass music, which is kind of like you finger pick in bluegrass, and it's somewhat similar to finger picking a guitar. So you're plucking each string, okay? The style that Linda and I both play is called traditional or old-time style, frailing or claw hammer. It's an open-backed banjo. It doesn't have the big piece on the back that makes it a lot louder. And the style that we play is old-time style, and that has been traced back to Africa. And it's played with the hand is held like this, and it's an utterly fascinating way to play. I was in bluegrass bands, and I like bluegrass music, but boy, old-time banjo is just wonderful. So you're throwing your hand at the string. So you are not plucking it. And you're hitting the large side of the fingernail. So you got to be pretty accurate and a little careful because you don't feel it, so you're not sure if you're right on the money. And you set up a rhythm with it. And it's a very, very rhythmical instrument. And the interesting thing about banjos is they kind of tell you how to play them, old-time style. And you tune them differently for different songs. So it really is a fascinating way of playing it. We're going to play a really old-time Appalachian tune called Cluck Old Hen. And
the thing about the banjo, it's true. It tells you what to do in that when you're playing old-time style, your arm comes down once per quarter note and never more. So if they're 8th notes or 16th notes, you have to get them with your left hand, or sometimes with your thumb can get them. Or what is generally done is you change a melody to fit the banjo. So that's what she means. Literally, you change what you're playing so it fits.
Right.
So,
because with a lot of times fiddling and banjo playing, rhythm is absolutely paramount. You can actually be a lousy fiddle player and play really out of tune, but boy, if you have good rhythm, you'll still get hired. It's really, it's pretty wild. So this is called Cluck Old Hen, and it's supposed to sound like chickens on kind of a cold, wet, rainy day. So just picture yourself sitting on your cabin front porch, and you see some chickens come around the side of the house. And did anybody grow up with chickens out there? They are really fun to watch. They really are. They're a very humorous bird. I don't know if they know it, but we sure do. So here we go, Cluck Old Hen. Put it right there, a little more, yeah. Big rooster. Thank you.
thank you.
So did it kind of sound like chickens? Other than the cluck.
The cluck was sounded the closest to chickens, I have to tell you. Anyhow, does anybody have a question? You know, anything about us or the instruments or the music or yeah. Where did we learn to play? We both started on violin with classical lessons. I was 7, Karen was 10. And I kind of branched out from there. I'm self-taught on everything other than the violin, which is by far the hardest instrument.
And I'm self-taught on all the other instruments, and they found out when I was headed towards high school, I was playing by ear on violin, so that made it a little hard to go on with it. And at that point, I really liked guitar, so I got into it. Yeah?
Did chicken help you to play?
Pardon?
Did chicken help you?
Did chicken? Chickens? You know what? There's a whole, I think my major is American Studies, and with an emphasis on music and American culture, and I think there is a whole paper that's been written about chickens in American music.
Oh, there's so many songs about chickens.
There are tons
chicken dance.
yes.
There's all kind of chicken stuff.
And the chickens get no royalties.
You're in your front row.
Oh, very
a
good.
mountain dulcimer.
We were just talking
We
about
keep
that.
talking about the mountain dulcimer. Do you play mountain dulcimer? You're working
They're
on
wonderful.
it. We each have a mountain dulcimer. Karen currently has 2 of them. I have a really nice one that I bought for my husband. He played it for a while, and it's in the closet now. We're talking about it, and we have intention to play. Auto harp also. We were given 4 auto harps by 3 different people within the last year. And so we have to play them too, because we have them. So,
Yeah.
is each instrument
Oh, this is an
equally
ongoing discussion with us.
The instrument Karen's going to play next that you didn't even see up here is the easiest one.
Oh, yes,
Isn't it?
that one's the
Spoons.
easiest.
She hasn't played spoons yet. And, depends which of us answers the question. I'll give my answer. Violin's the hardest. You give your answer.
Not only is guitar the hardest, but Paganini thought so too. He thought classical guitar was very, very difficult. But I do not play classical guitar.
But some of the instruments are easier, for sure.
Yeah.
Some are easier. The hammer dulcimer's not as hard as it looks all complicated because there are all kind of strings there. But really, on your first or second try, you get a nice sound out of it. Like a violin, you spend months getting it to not squeak. But hammer dulcimer, you take the hammer and you ping on a string, and it sounds pretty right away.
And you can play it pretty quickly if you're not trying to go really fast. 3 instruments that if anybody would like to get started on them, and you can, that are wonderful, is ukulele, auto harp, and the lap dulcimer. And they're wonderful instruments, and you can do an enormous amount with them without getting really fancy. We do a lot of work with kids in schools, and we've had a lot of fun with that with them. Yeah.
Was your guitar Gibson?
Well, it is a Gibson. However, there's been a friend of mine who was a very good luthier, did some bracing in the top, and he hollowed out the bracing a lot. This bridge is not the original. He compensated for the B string on this. But the other thing is I left it with a friend who was a bluegrass banjo player for the weekend, and he was learning, he was going to build mandolins, and when he gave it back to me, he had done this inlay up here. So the original is gone, and this is
Were you at
his.
all mad at him for doing that, or do you kind of like that he
I
did
thought
it?
it was actually really funny.
Yeah, but you were a kid then.
I was funny as a kid too, and relatively tolerant. So yeah. The original. This is a B25, but that's the guitar. Everything about it is the same except for the bridge and the bracing inside. Though he used the original bracing, he just carved it down. And up here, frankly, it was just gold paint. This high glitter, cheap looking gold paint. Now it's a rather cheap and poorly done inlay.
Well, thank you. Yes, it's a really nice guitar.
Yes, people are always offering to buy that guitar, and no, it's not for sale.
Yes, yes.
All right, so I think we'll move on with the next instrument. It's right here in your stands right next to you. Oh, did you want to? We don't have to. No. Okay, the secret special instrument that I already told you what it is. Karen will play her famous spoons. This is the instrument we're best known for. It's, we'll go and do school programs, and the kids write you letters afterwards. You know, the teachers say, one sentence says thank you, one says what you learned, and one says what you like best. So it goes like this. Dear Simple Gifts, thank you for coming to our school. I learned how to play the spoons. I like the spoons best.
Actually, it was really cute. A little kid at one of the schools gave me one of these tiny little black bulldog clips, and he said, "Here's a case for your spoons." I just thought, oh, thank heavens, genius is still alive. So this is Cajun-style spoons, and I have to say, this is an instrument I did not learn myself. I was taught this. The Balfa family plays Cajun music, and they are to Cajun music what the Carter family was to early country music. And their squeezebox player was a marvelous spoons player and a squeezebox player. He also did not speak any English at all. His name was Nathan Absher, and he taught me how to play Cajun-style spoons. And yes, there are different styles. People play them in the Ukraine, Spain, Egypt, Turkey, Norway, and Sweden. So it's all over the world. People are messing with their silverware, which I think is kind of intriguing. So Linda's going to play an old-time fiddle tune called West Fort Gals, and I'll play my spoons. This one I learned from a Three Stooges YouTube. And if you want to watch it, it's Disorder in the Court. Thank you. Okay, I will quickly explain this so you go home and try this. We sell joined spoons already, and they're much easier to play. But if you're just going to learn the tradition, you take 2 cheap spoons. Adults usually want soup spoons. You know, like the kind you buy at like Dollar General or something.
You really want the cheap ones because the thinner metal sounds better.
Yes, it does. And you can kind of bend them to fit your hand. So here's what I'm doing. The sound is coming obviously from the backs of the spoons hitting each other. I'm right-handed, so I'm taking my index finger, putting it in between the handles of the spoons, about halfway down. I have a lot of the finger poked through. This is between the first and second knuckle, okay? Taking my remaining fingers, kind of curling them around the bottom of the handles of the spoons. Wow, you guys are really listening. This is awesome. And you kind of gently squeeze it into the palm of your hand, okay? Now, if you hold your arm out in front of you, you want to make sure the thumb is on the top spoon, finger in between, and bottom spoon. So this finger is keeping the spoons separated, and it's hitting them that makes them hit each other, okay? So basically, I'm kind of pinching that top spoon between the thumb and the first finger so it doesn't move. The bottom one is looser,
if you just tap the tip, it pushes it into the top. Does that make sense? Okay, then you just tap it against your leg. Take your other hand, put it over the top. That's called put a roof on it. Okay. Next one is called paint the board. Think of this as a paintbrush. And you've got your feet flat on the floor and your knees together. Take this hand, put it down by your leg, tap your hand and drag it across. Okay. And then you can bounce it back. You can add a little bit of drama. Like that, okay? Just don't have your face over there. The next one's called the cricket. So, how many of you put cardboard in your bicycle spokes or playing cards? All right, same concept. Think of your fingers as bicycle spokes. I'm thinking of them as sticks with a lot of space in between each one, about the same amount. Take the tip of the bottom spoon and just roll it down the fingers. You get good at that, throw the thumb in. You get good at that, put it down next to your legs. So you've got 7 clicks. And the last thing you have to do is wash them off. So pretend you're holding a glass of hot.
Three Stooges.
Oh, right, the Three
Don't forget
Stooges.
The Three Stooges.
Yeah.
She was so excited when she
Yes,
came across this.
I was. Three Stooges is just take this, turn it up, and this one you just hit the tops of your fingers, okay? And the thumb. Now what's really cool about this is if you get hired to play a gig in an Irish bar for like 3 hours, this is the one I'd recommend. It's a lot easier, okay? Just like that. And the last one is you wash it off. So you pretend you've got a glass of hot soapy water. Take your spoons, stick them down in, and just as fast as you can, back and forth. Your finger might get just a little sore in between the handles of the spoon, so you can put tape, rubber band, or Band-Aids on the handles, or maybe even some expensive moleskin, make it very fancy. And that is Cajun-style spoons. Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much. We've had a great time playing here. We are going to play one more. We'll go back to double fiddles. We'll play a pair of Romanian tunes. And make sure to come next time. Peter's a really nice guy, and I believe he's a really good organ player, too. So I think, was that March 8th? March 8th, come on back and hear
Yes.
Peter play the organ.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. I would love to hear this. I'm sure it's mesmerizing.
It's nice to be here. I spent 2 years living in Shaker buildings at a boarding school that was contributed by what had been a Shaker community. And this just reminds me a lot of the chapel there. It was about a quarter this size, but kind of the same dimensions. And it's nice to be back in New England. We don't get up here that often.
Up here, up.
We are up here.
We're up and over. Yes. I grew up in a
Yeah, we're
church
up and over.
with beautiful stained glass windows, but you know what? I think I've got to go with the clear ones. I really like the clear windows.
Yeah.
My husband's an art historian, so he said, you just wait till you get into one of those churches with the plain glass. So, we're going to end with 2 Romanian tunes, and these are just kind of wild and crazy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We are so easy. We would be happy to do another one. So thank you. You guys are sweet. And Karen's going for a fiddle. Okay.
So we'll truly end with a waltz. This is called the Ashokan Farewell Waltz. It was used in Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. And everybody in the country fell in love with it. It really is a beautiful number. And hopefully it doesn't have an ominous side to it nowadays.
So I see that there are people with the collection plates for afterwards on your way out if you'd like to make a contribution to support the church's music program. And if you'd like to chat with us, probably one of us will be in here if you want to come up and ask about instruments. Probably that'll be Karen, and probably I'll be out at the CD table. We've got 8 different CDs. It's 15 for one, 25 for two, and then they get like cheaper as you buy more, and if you get enough of them, we pay you to take them. We have a book of sheet music, and Karen makes those spoons that are already joined together, where you don't need the fancy handhold, you just hold them in a fist. So, thank you so much.